Give a round of applause because it's on his own time.
All right. Let's get this up and rolling. Hopefully this works. Oh, look at that. Love when tech works. Oh, that's a real preview. How's it going, everyone? Good, pretty good. Thank you all for coming. I know it's like thick into exam season. I had an exam last night. I had one Friday, so I get it. I appreciate you coming. My name's Ben, co-founder of a company called Breakout, and today I'm going to be talking about how to join a startup without getting lucky. So what I mean by without getting lucky, and I'll get into this a little later, but basically I'm assuming that all of you in here have absolutely no skills, no connections, and are going to have no luck in the rest of your life. And I know that's probably not true. We're going to get into that too, but that's what I'm assuming, so keep that in mind. So first, why you're going to listen to me for probably about 25 minutes here. I'm a student just like you. I'm a senior here at UW-Madison. What do I know about this topic? I'm at class 2 all day. I'm doing work. I'm trying to, figure out my life. So I'll tell you a little bit about myself. First, I worked in a startup my freshman and sophomore year called Trinity Medical, and worked at a VC fund called Badger Fund of Funds. My sophomore year, I also did something called the Transcend Innovation Competition, which is something you might have heard of before, where we give away over $40,000 in student prizes. I also ran a student startup accelerator at the exact same time, which had people like SideShift in it. That's where they started. It had people who exited their company for over $1 million, people who got invested in by Mark Cuban. It was pretty cool. That was here at UW-Madison. And I ran that with a guy named John Eckert, who works for the chancellor now, and a guy who stole his company for $200 million named Jack Koziel. I then got roped in with John to work with the chancellor in a thing called the Chancellor's Entrepreneurship Initiative, which is going on right now. You'll probably hear more about that coming soon. And I basically wrote a big report for him and did some stuff like that. At the same time, I was running a student founder community, which had over 150 total members at the peak of it, called Ramp 100. And then I also, part of that, helped co-create a job fair for startups last semester, which I ran with my friend named Truman Nolte. So basically, throughout all this, there was a couple of problems that came up. One was that it feels like it's impossible to break into startups. Everyone who was in my community wanted to either be an entrepreneur or do something in that area, but then they would try that, and then eventually they go work in corporate, which is great. Like, you can do that, but there didn't feel like there's any middle ground. Either you're an entrepreneur, you're in corporate. That doesn't make sense. So that was one problem. And the second problem was that there were founders out there, like all around here. They're not on campus, but they're just outside of campus, like just past the Capitol or just over there, and they want to hire you. They were telling me they want to hire you, but they don't know how to find you. So I went all in this problem because it felt like a pretty big problem and something I could help with a lot. This summer, I ended up getting Jeremy hired. I got Dane hired in a startup, Ayush, Emre, Vishwa, Root, and Ben in the past 2 months. And now I started a company called Breakout. So basically, I know a thing or two about getting people into startups. Now, why you're here is probably because you're interested in something like this, like startups. That seems kind of interesting to you. Maybe you've heard about it before. Startups, everyone's in Badger Future Founders, or I told you to come here, so you probably know a thing or two about startups. But this is not as interesting to you. Cubicles. I mean, maybe you're interested in this, and that's great, but I'm personally not as much interested in this. And the reason I'm not interested in this is because in my 20s, I want to work really hard. And I want to work really hard because I don't want a ceiling for my work. I want to learn really, really, really fast, personally, and I want some financial upside. I think that's, some of you want that as well, and that's why you're interested in these rocket ships called startups. Now, startups, however, kind of feel like this secret society, this underground thing that's happening that no one really knows how to break into. Either you got to be born into it, or you got to know a guy who knows a guy. And I'll be honest with you, that Trinity company, that was because my dad was the co-founder, and that Badger Fund of Funds is because John knew the guy who ran the fund. And that's why I got in, and that's how it was. That's my honest take. But I'm assuming a lot of you don't want just stuff to happen to you. You want to make stuff happen. So that's why I'm here today. My first promise for you is that if you do follow these steps, and you genuinely follow them, like genuinely try, I guarantee that with absolutely no luck, you will get into a startup within 2 years. I absolutely guarantee it, okay? Now, most of you are probably saying like, okay, but I have some skills. I have a little bit of luck. Like, I'm in the university. I got in here somehow. Like, come on, man. Like, give me a little slack. Yeah, that's why I think many of you, I bet you could get into a startup within 6 months if you tried, maybe an internship to try it out. Probably most of you could get in within 3 months if you really try these steps. And lastly, I bet some of you could get in by Halloween if you wanted to, based on what I've seen. My second promise is if you genuinely follow these steps and you still have no startup job, I'll get you into one. Just come find me. So basically, and like all these people that I did. So basically, after this presentation, you can get into a startup. Okay, cool. Here's the plan. First, why join a startup? Second, what's the best reason to join a startup? I'll go through a bunch of reasons you might want to join a startup and probably might not want to, but then we'll talk about the best reason too. Then how do you become useful to a startup once you know you want to join a startup? And lastly, how do you actually get hired into a startup without getting lucky? AKA assuming no luck, no skills, blah, blah, blah. So why join a startup? First, what is a startup? That's more important. We got to figure that out first. There's one thing that defines a startup for any other company. That's speed. Startups need to go fast. Why do startups need to go fast? It's because there's an opportunity in the market that has not a lot of time to go capture that opportunity. So think like right now AI is the big thing, of course. But in 2 or 3 years, all the companies that are trying to create these like AI agents, all these other AI things, they're already going to have saturated that market. So there's a specific time window where you need to go fast or else someone else is going to do it before you. And if you don't go fast, you die. That's a startup. So that's the first dimension of what I'm going to call the stage style matrix, which I'll talk about later. But this is a startup right there. That is not a startup, but that's a perfectly good thing to go into too. Frankly, I'm kind of interested in lifestyle business as well. We'll get into what that is a little later. And the second dimension of this matrix I'm talking about why to join a startup, at least how to decide, is the stage of the business. So anywhere from the founder to Walmart's the biggest company in the world with 2.1 million employees right now. That's about the latest stage you can get at. And all these stages in between. So there's this thing called seed stage, which is really early startups, Series A, which is a little bit further along, first big round of funding, then growth. So that's right after you hit this thing called product market fit, where the product that you have fits the market and it starts growing organically. A lot of you may have heard of that concept. And then you get to scale, which is where you're trying to become the next big tech, you're trying to become the next Facebook, you're trying to IPO. That's the next step. So these are the stages of the business, and together that creates the stage style matrix. So I think this is one of the key takeaways from this entire presentation is wherever you go to work, put the company you're going to work on this matrix. Because there's going to be trade-offs about what you're going to do and what you're going to experience in companies at different sections of this matrix. So be really, really clear before you go spend the next 3, 5, 10, maybe the rest of your entire life at a company, that it's actually the thing that you want to do. Again, obviously you can always change later, but I would use this if I were to think about it a little bit. So this is one takeaway, the stage style matrix. So what are the trade-offs on each of these axes? First, for style, basically you go really fast, so you don't really have any work-life balance, be expected for that. A lot of risk. There's so many startups who are trying to get at this one opportunity. They're probably, well, your startup's probably gonna fail. About 10% of startups actually succeed, so it's very high risk. This is one people don't think about. The more hyper growth you go in a startup, the less guidance and mentorship you actually get. So if the first job you want mentorship, you want guidance, don't go to a hyper growth startup. What you do get is you get dropped into a fire hose and you have to go figure it out on your own. So if you are interested in that, maybe a startup's more interested in you. Or somewhere in between, of course. Very, very fast paced, the more you go to the left, but you get to learn faster. So maybe it's the trade-off you want. And lastly, there is clearly massive upside. If you do succeed, if you do get in a startup, massive upside not only financially, but learning and responsibility. So you're gonna take on way more than you would otherwise. You get to learn way more, way faster, and you get the possibility of being very, very wealthy. Now on the stage side, a few less trade-offs here. Instability. So if you're the founder of a company, I mean, it's extremely unstable. Like you're your own, like if you fail, you fail. You've no other stability. And a lot of that's out of your control. But if you're the 2.1 millionth employee, you're probably pretty stable at Walmart. The more employees you go, usually the company has more users. So the later stage, they have more users, more infrastructure built up that you can work off of. The responsibility is much different as well as the stress level. So if you're someone who really wants a lot of responsibility, maybe you should go to an earlier stage company. But if you are someone who doesn't want to be insanely stressed out, then definitely don't go to an earlier stage company. And then lastly, equity. So that being how much ownership you have in the company. So really, some question I'll ask you, do you want wealth? I would probably go somewhere around here. This is a more mid to later stage startup. So this is like a company that's like maybe $100 to $500 million in value. And you go join that company. This is something people don't think about ever. You can go join that company, get a small fraction, about 0.05% of a company on average at that stage, or maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. And you can take that company from $100 or $500 million and help them get to $10 billion. And that's the exact same thing mathematically. That's about like, you probably get like $10 to $25 million out of that exit. That's the same exact thing as being the founder of a $100 million company. Because your equity does a thing called dilution, whereas you get more investors, your equity stakes can go down because they take some of your equity, and you end up making the same as if you just went and joined a big, more stable, fast-growing company. You get the exact same outcome. So that's something to be aware of. Or you can go this other area where you are an early employee, but it's a more stable lifestyle company, and that's another good way, in my opinion, to make some wealth. Something to look into. Time freedom, go to a lifestyle company. Stability, go join Walmart. Mentorship, I would say somewhere around here. You can learn a lot here while still getting quite a bit of mentorship. And lastly, a bit controversially, impact. I actually think this is the biggest, most impactful place you can be. This is more, again, a mid to later stage startup because you get to learn really, really fast, and you have people to mentor you as well. And you have this existing user base. So for impact, you have this existing user base that you can directly, whatever you do in the company gets to impact all of them already. You don't have to start from nothing. And I think that can be much more impactful. And you get to be at a stage where you can impact the company a lot, and it could be this massive company that you're leading in a leadership position. So for a lot of the reasons, I think this is the highest impact place. You might have noticed that I didn't outline this at all in any of them. I think logically, this is a pretty horrible decision. I think trying to be the founder of a company or really early stage employee is logically, there aren't many reasons for it, except one, in my opinion. And I think that's because you can't not do it. So Ben, like, okay, what does that mean? Here's a test. So the can't help yourself test coined by my friend Shabi back then in the camera. If you can't help yourself but build or work in your free time, daydream about a problem or a particular future, physically cringe when thinking about 9 to 5, or feel like you'll regret it in 10 years down the line, if you're nodding your head, you should probably consider a startup. If not, maybe not the best option for you. But it's important, I think, to weigh that now as you consider your future career options. Okay, so where do I begin? I want to consider joining a startup. My talk was how to join a startup. I haven't even talked about it yet, I'm sorry. But really important stuff. Now, where do I begin? I want to try joining a startup. I want an internship. I want to try it out. Become useful. Like, okay, Ben, what does that even mean? How to become useful in a startup. 2 parts. One, there's 2 things startups care about. One is getting more customers, and second is delivering for those customers. So if that's all that matters, what should you do? Probably connect your skills to what matters. And second, I'm going to let my friend Nick Lawton tell this one. So Nick Lawton is the founder and CEO of SideShift, which recently got valued at $1, and he was a senior just like me 2 years ago at UW-Madison. I was talking with the other day, and he was at Madison for a speaker event, and he was telling me how they really all they care about is moving fast. Like, remember, startups want to move fast because they need to capture the opportunity. So Nick over here, he wants to move fast. But how do you move fast in a startup? Well, you do things that usually aren't very scalable. You do things that will probably break, like this. Okay, why would you do that? That seems like a stupid decision because then you're not delivering for a customer, which I said was important. Well, that's because his buddy Drew, the CTO, is probably going to fix it. And what's going to happen when you fix it? Well, you can go fast because you can make things that will break and then fix it and then do that over and over and over again. And you'll probably make something much better than if you just tried to make something perfect in the first place. Because remember, startups either go fast or they die. And if you try to build this right away, you're not going fast. So build this instead. If you don't go fast, the startup's going to die. So therefore, second is to be fast. And that's the thing that nobody understands. What you think is you need a skill, but you don't just need a skill. You need to do it fast. If you can't do it fast, then you will not get hired. It doesn't matter if you're the best, but you need to be able to do it fast. So that's the second big thing to take away from this. You have to learn how to do it fast, and that's not what school teaches you. That's not what you've been told your whole life, to do a perfect exam score every time. The best solution is getting to 80% such that you can do it 5 times faster, and that's something you've never been told in your entire life. So I'm telling you now. So in summary, how to become a useful startup? Build useful skills, but do them fast, and learn how to do them fast. All right, how? Quick example. There's Shabi back there. Hey, Shabi. Shabi's my friend and my co-founder and my roommate. And Shabi has a unique story. He grew up in the middle of nowhere. This is right here, the red dot. That red dot is East Troy. East Troy looks like that. That's what most of Wisconsin looks like for any of you people who are from California. It looks like that. That's where I grew up in an area like this too. And Shabi grew up making stuff that looked like this in his family's business called Hometown Sausage Kitchen. So he grew up packing meats. He grew up literally packing meats. Is that right, Shabi? You packed a lot of meats? Producing, okay, all sorts. He didn't do any of this until he was 15. This was the first time when he was freshman year in college. That's the first time he touched a computer. And the first time he coded was at 17 years old, his senior year in AP CSA. And he's a junior and he's my co-founder. So what happened? Well, Shabi first came in looking really dapper right there. And he decided to set the bar really high and go be a custodian. But that also allowed him to get in this thing called Startup Learning Community, which surrounded him with a bunch of other opportunities to go to different startups events on campus. Okay, so Shabi stumbled into this thing I told you about earlier. He's right there with SideShift, with guy who got Mark Cuban in, with an exit in there with Jack Koziel, 200 million. He stumbled into that pretty nice scenario. But the one thing he learned from that, he learned very early on, and why he's so far along and where he is now, is because he learned a tool that allowed him to go really, really fast. He didn't. Everyone else that he saw in the accelerator was not able to code. There was about half of them that could code, but most of them couldn't code. And Shabi's like, well, I should probably learn how to code. And he just like, well, what's the tool I can use to do it the fastest? Not the way that everyone tells me I should do it, aka like do leak code if you're a software engineer, or well, the best practice way that you can do something, go to business school, go get a degree, all this stuff. No, he just taught himself how to do it. And what ended up happening is he got recruited by some of the startups in there to come work for them. So he joined a team of students to go work on something. Then people started asking him to do it for them. This guy was the first freelance gig that Shabi got, and this was the second one. And they were paying him money to do that thing, which you see later is an important benchmark. And then what happened this summer, he worked at a Y Combinator startup, got paid a good amount of money, and now is a co-founder for me. So that's Shabi's story. So what can you learn from it? So this is my 5-step process of how to become useful at a startup. First, surround yourself with builders. So when I say builders, I don't just mean people like literally building things. Like if you're a business person, I mean people building organizations. I mean people building side hustles. I mean people building stuff, tinkering with stuff. You already probably know this though, and you're like, okay, Ben, I already know this. You're farther along than you think in this process, by the way. Second, learn the tools you need to go fast. This is something that all of you have probably skipped, or a lot of you have skipped. Learn how to go fast. What does that mean? There are tools out there. Most of them are using AI. Learn those tools. I don't care if the school tells you that you should not be learning those tools because it's cheating. They're wrong. If you want to get hired, especially at a startup, you need to learn how to go fast. So learn the tools and learn how to go fast. That's the second thing. That's something maybe I would consider revisiting right now. Third, start building with others. Well, that's organizations, clubs, a magazine, a newsletter, building software, building hardware, whatever it is. From that group you surround yourself with, using the tools needed to go fast. And eventually the test is, do others start, I changed that, but will people pay you money? What I changed this to was, do other people are they asking to work for you? Are they asking for your help? And eventually then they'll pay you money. So basically once people start asking you, hey, I want you to help me, they start recognizing your skills, you're probably ready, you're useful. Oh, there it is. And then you can start asking for money. So again, if people start asking for your help, you are useful. Like, get that in your head. If people start asking you for help, you're useful. I bet there's been a stage where someone asked you for help. Like, put it in your head that you are useful. There's people that I know that are extremely useful and they still tell themselves they're not useful. You're lying to yourself, okay? You are useful, and then you can start asking for money. Great. You have the skills, you can ask for money. Again, it's hard to ask for money, but you can. Now what? You need startups to know about you. And this is the final and fourth piece, and then we'll wrap up. How to get hired by a startup. So here's how you get hired by a startup. You go on LinkedIn. So everyone should go on LinkedIn right now. And then, you know that easy apply button? That's your best friend, okay? So put your resume in that, and then do it on every single LinkedIn job location that you can find. And then if you like really want the job, then email the founder and do it over and over again. No, I'm just kidding. Don't do that. That is not how to get hired in a startup. That's what everyone does. I know all of you do that to get into a corporate job, and that's fine. I understand that's what's expected of you now. That's what everyone else does, so that's what you're doing. But this is how you actually get hired in a startup. This is what I bet my reputation on that will get you in a startup if you have the skills that people are ready to start asking you for help. Okay, in 8 steps. Number 1, build your list. A lot of this is going to seem easy or like self-evident. It is. Great. How do you do that? Use this tool. Everyone has a free membership to this tool as UW student. Literally look up PitchBook UW-Madison login, click this link, and then go to this one right here. It's because UW Library's PitchBook permalink. I have the links at the end of the presentation. I'll send you later. And then create an account, and it looks something like this. This took me about 15 seconds, and now I had a list of 3,894 companies in Madison, Wisconsin. Pretty useful. Now, PitchBook, the filters don't always work great. I've used PitchBook a lot. I think sometimes they don't catch all like the startups. So I would recommend using this list. This is the Wisconsin Tech Council's deal list. They have every single deal that has happened. This is 2011, but since 2009. So every single time a company in the state of Wisconsin has gotten a deal, so they've gotten money from someone, they're on this list. And you can see how much money they got it for and who invested in them. So if you want to get into a startup, there they all are. And then you can just put them into PitchBook and see everything about them, see their founder's email, see everything. And then lastly, here's the investor list. So this is every single investor in the state of Wisconsin. That's both angel groups, so that's individual people, as well as VCs, venture capitalists, people who give startups monies. All right, so I started searching, what do I actually look for? First, what's your niche? Now this is like a big question, I understand that you're probably like, all right, I heard this 1,000 times. You know what your skills are that are useful now because people are asking you for help on those skills. That's your niche. I understand like it's great to be passionate about stuff. And personally, I'm very passionate about specific problems, so that might be your niche. But usually the skills that you've like compounded over time, that you've worked so hard at to become useful at, those are probably stuff you're passionate about anyways. And guess what? It's kind of nice being good at stuff. You'll probably gain a passion for the stuff you're good at. So my argument is that I would just start by picking the skills that you're good at and that you know are useful, and that's your niche, not an industry. It's the skills. Okay, so you've got your skills that are useful. Now find startups in the niche and find investors in the niche. Startups, obviously, so you can contact them. Investors, one, so you can contact them, but who are they invested in? They're invested in startups. And every single startup that is invested in has money that they can hire you. Okay, so that's great. So the first thing you need to think is your niche. And the second thing, you need to see that they have money. And the way you know money is that they have investors and have investment. That's the way you know they have money. So they can pay you. All right. This is the way that I would see if they have money. There's your list of everyone who has money. If you look up a company, that's the one I work for, you go look on deals, you'll see every deal they've had. And you can look recently. If they have a recent investment, then you know they've recently gotten money and you know they're hiring. So that's how I do it. Go to deals, see if they've had an investment, and then you can see if they've raised money to pay you. Second step, write a value memo. That's so corporate, I don't like that, but it's okay. What a value memo is this. First, it's basically a letter to the founder. You address it directly to them, say, I don't really know what I'm talking about first. I'm making a lot of assumptions here, but here's what I understand what you do, and here's how I can help you. Okay, what's a value proposition, and what does that mean? How can I help you? Remember, this is what matters. So tell them how you can help them with 1 and 2, or just generally tell them how you can help them make more money. That's what you're gonna write in this thing. This is an alternate way of that's how you make them more money. These 3 things, getting more customers, keeping customers longer, cutting costs, or this one. Either one, that makes them more money. So tell them why your skills help do that. Number 3, this is the important one, craft your cold email. All right, and or DM. This is what that might look like. So some key points in this. 1, subject line really matters. Start with value. All of you, what you're probably going to want to do is say, I'll do anything. I'll work for free. I'll scrub your toilets. I did the exact same thing. I was like, I'll scrub your toilets. I'll do whatever you want. Like, you got an unpaid internship at a YC startup. Like, you're probably like, I'll do whatever you want. I'll go unpaid, right?
What I did, yeah.
I would lead with value instead. I would not beg. Even though you're a student, you have useful skills. Remember that. Like, you're very valuable. So lead with value instead of begging. You can do that in the subject line. That should be in the subject line, and that's going to be in the rest of the email. The second most important thing is that attachment. This is how I do it. Every single person that I help introduce to a startup to get them hired, I include a video. And what it kind of looks like is like a 60 to 90-second selfie video where you literally take your phone, you say, hey, and you directly to the founder. You say, hey, Matt, I'm Ben. Here's why I'm relevant to you, and here's why I'm interested in your startup. You attach that to the email, and then you can write an email something like this, basically saying, I've done this, I have this useful skill. It was useful for this reason. I would love, really enjoy the stuff you're doing. You can change this, but this is an example I took from an essay that I liked. And then basically have a call to action at the end. So lead with value, attach a video, have a call to action. And then this is another cold DM. This is one that I used to, I sent this one to a company called Figure, and it was really good. I like it. That's one you could do for a cold DM. So like this is under 200 characters, so you can do it in a LinkedIn message. So like on LinkedIn, when you get like, for your free account, you get like 5 things a week. You can put this in that. 4, just keep doing it. This is kind of the same as the easy apply strategy, but I would say somewhere around this, if you still haven't gotten responses, there's probably something going wrong. Either you haven't built up enough useful skills yet, or you're doing a wrong cold email. Follow-up rules for follow-up emails. Follow up once after 3 to 4 days, follow up second time a week after your first follow-up, and then don't follow up again because it will sound desperate. So don't do that. 6th, reply fast. Again, remember speed. You want to signal for speed. You want to be useful, so lead with value, and you want to go fast, so speed. Learn to do it fast. 7, what to do on the call. Before the call, do your research. Also, writing out answers to all the potential questions is a good way to do it. On the call, ask them what's the most important thing you need solving right now, and then all your answers for the rest of the call will be catered towards that. So you'll lead with value for the rest of the call and say like, oh, like that's great, let's brainstorm about that. Let's do that idea. Oh, that's great, I'll solve your problem, solve this problem, add value. And then be really present, only take the necessary notes for the follow-up email, which is what you'll do after the call. Send it within 24 hours. Remember, be fast and talk about what you got excited on the call, summarize how you can provide value, etc. And lastly, if you want to go the extra mile, you can do free work for them. So it's literally like this, some people don't think about. If you want to be a marketing intern for a startup, you can go on your social media. You have really like valuable people on that social media that already follow you. You can create content for them without asking them, and then put a call to action at the end of your social media, actually get them customers, and then in your email say, hey, I got you customers, you want to jump on a call. They will get on a call with you, just so you know. And lastly, if you're like an engineer or designer, literally rebuild or redesign a portion of their product without asking. Just like go on without any permission and just tell that, like, use your skills. Oh, this doesn't look great. They probably don't have time to fix it, so go fix it yourself. And then in the email, attach a screenshot. It's like, hey, look, I redesigned your product. I can do more of it. You'll get a meeting with them. You can create an action plan. You can become a customer, create a friction log of all the places where their product went wrong and that you could be valuable to them. You could cold email that investor you found that is invested in their startup and ask them for an intro. All these are different ways to get on the call such that you can apply what you did before. If you're not in a startup by now, I'll get you in one. Thank you. All right, so what I want to do now, I went a little over time, so we don't have a bunch of Q&A, but I want to do Q&A. We have this all recorded here, so I'm going to pass this around to people who are doing it. You can either ask questions about what I just talked about, preferably something that'll be useful for the rest of the group, or what I like doing, if you want to join a startup and you're not in a startup and you would like to tell me a little bit about your situation, and I can personally live coach you about how to get in a startup right now,
You can do that too if you want. I think that would be helpful for the rest of the room. So yeah, any questions? I know I put a lot of information out there, so if you don't have questions, it's fine. Yes, do you first. And just talking to this. Just grab that.
That was very interesting. I know you talked about useful skills quite a bit. Can you just give like random examples of skills that you think a lot of startups would find useful today?
Four big buckets: hardware engineering, software engineering, business. That's a big bucket. I can break that one down. Design. That's what they're hiring for. Business, that can basically, if you can sell, you can pretty much get into any company if you offer them a commission-based sales role, because you only get paid if you get more customers, which is one of our key things. So selling is the biggest one. Marketing and growth. So what that means is that could be graphic design of creating marketing materials. That could be growth campaigns, so like cold outreach. There's 4 ways to get customers and companies: warm outreach, cold outreach, content, and paid ads. So if you can do any of those, getting more customers. And then operations is another good one. So if you're just like Bridget, if you're just like really badass, I don't know if she's here, she left. She was like an executive business intern this summer at a startup, and just like, she was just the founder's right-hand man. And like anything that he didn't catch, she just caught and made sure he didn't miss, which resulted in like a lot more, if there's customers that slip through the cracks, you want to make sure they don't slip through the cracks. That was the last one. So in the business category, it's sales, marketing or growth, operations. That's it right now. Yeah. Does that help?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Who's next? Back there. Yeah. Sorry, this is weird.
I kind of want you to live coach me right now.
Okay, let's do it. Let's do it.
So my name's Ian. I just switched my major this summer I was pre-med, and now I'm a data science major.
Yeah.
And I want to get into the startup space. I've started cold emailing, stuff like that, reaching out. What do you suggest I do right now?
What have you done in the past?
So I've worked for one AI company just on the side. It's called Outlier.
Okay, what did you do though?
AI evaluate. So like
Okay.
all the ChatGPT prompts, stuff like that.
Okay.
I like kind of fix their code for like math problems.
You did some coding?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I learned Python over the summer.
You learned Python this summer?
Yeah.
Tell me more about that.
I got certified like through a website.
Have you built any sort of like products?
I don't have
yourself?
any projects.
Okay, you don't have any projects?
No.
Okay. Have you worked with any other students on projects at all?
No. But I've done one OA for one OA.
Explain what that is.
Oh, it's like so once you apply for a job, like mine was for a basketball organization, they send you like a test basically.
Yeah.
That's a project, and you have to do it in order to get an interview.
Right. Okay. So you're interested in startups, and no projects yet, but you've had an internship.
No.
Oh, you said you worked at the AI company.
Yeah. That's like not like anything crazy.
That's not anything crazy.
No.
Why is it not anything crazy?
I mean, I don't know.
It just doesn't feel like
I just
prestigious,
don't.
or
Yeah,
what do you mean?
Yeah. Like I don't
Okay.
feel like. I guess prestigious.
Okay, that's the first thing. Prestige doesn't matter in startup. I mean, it does if you work in like a really big startup, but what they care about is what you can do.
Okay.
So if you're a high schooler, if you're 16 years old, you haven't done jack, but you can code like a maniac for some reason or another,
Yeah.
they will hire you. Like they don't care about the like the prestige. So prestige can help, but what matters is what you can do. So therefore, like projects. Do you have? Are you in any clubs that people are doing stuff related to where you want to go?
No.
Do you know other people that want to have the same goal as you?
Yeah. A couple of my roommates.
What are they doing for like the groups that they're in?
One of them's in. I don't know if have you heard of Cardinal Trading?
Yeah, those are great. So if you like undergraduate project lab, that's a club. There's software development club. There's web labs, but there's a bunch of clubs on campus. So basically, if there's a club on campus where you have a group of other people who are doing the thing that you want to get good at, go there. So look up those. A lot of them are on Discord because they're CS, and then go there, learn how to code with AI. Number 2. So build projects on your own and go there and build a project with AI. Then start working on projects with them. And a lot of them will probably not use AI because corporate wants you to not use AI, but use AI. because you can go faster.
Yeah.
And then after that, you will have something useful. So after that, then I would, the fourth one is people will start asking you like, oh, that's sick what you built. And you can use what you built and then get into startup. So yeah, build stuff, and in 3 months, come back to me.
Got it.
Yeah. Gotcha. All right, who's next? Is that helpful?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Anyone else? Q&A? Okay, I probably shouldn't be doing the microphone around here. Finn, come to the freaking, give him this microphone. Yeah, I'll do this one. Yeah.
I want to ask,
You go
like,
past
what are some red flags that you should look out for, and how would you go about asking those?
Say it one more time.
What are some red flags that you should look out for, and how would you go about asking for those red
Reflex?
flags? Yeah, red flags.
What do you mean by reflex?
Like,
Red flags. Okay,
Yeah.
sorry. Red flags in a company?
yeah.
Ooh, it's a good one. So,
Funding, right? Would you recommend joining a startup with no funding? That's what comes to my head.
yeah. So red flags for startups in particular?
Yeah.
Yeah, so funding could be one. Definitely right. So you can find if they have funding on PitchBook. Usually the number isn't right on PitchBook, but everyone has to disclose like whether they have a deal or something like in their tax returns, which is like where they find it. So if they have a deal done in the past like year, that's good. Red flags though, so like on the flip side, what you should be wary of, the biggest and by far the most one is the founder. So the founder themselves, if their personality is not someone that you want to spend every second of your life with, then they've probably hired people in the rest of their company that you also don't want to spend any of your life with because they hired people they like. So really, really the founder in a startup. And then two, it's just really important that you are like what they're working on and what you'd be doing at the startup is something that you like genuinely like when you do it and you get excited about it. Because at the end of the day, you gotta keep doing stuff to get good at it. So like you have to stay in the startup, and if the founder's not meshing with you, then the personality is gonna be off. So I would say founder personality, and then are you get excited about the startup? Yeah, and then one right there.
Oh,
You good?
I'll just go quick. You touched on the software.
Sorry.
Yeah, no,
Sorry.
You touched a little bit on the software part over there.
Yes.
But what about like a lot of the business
Yep.
oriented students? You touched a little bit on that.
Mhm.
We have a lot of business school kids here that want to apply marketing and sales. How do you do that to a startup?
So how do you do?
How can you get into the startup space within those skills?
You got it. How can you get into the startup space with those skills? Okay. So I wasn't sure if you're going to ask the question like, how do you get those skills first, and how do you get into the startup space? I'll answer the first one first. So like it's a little bit more unclear about how you get skills that are business related as opposed to software. Like obviously, like what's your name back there again? Ian.
Yeah.
He just needs to code, like unfortunately or not. If you're a hardware engineer, like you just got to build stuff. If you're a designer, you got to design stuff. But your business, how do you signal that you're this like operational, like you'll literally just like get stuff done, and you can build great graphics, you can get them customers. How do you do that? So one thing that I look for is like people who lead clubs are like absolute demons usually. Like if you can lead a club, but that's not everyone can lead a club, so that's that. Another one is just like, honestly, if you want to get in a startup and you can, like if you're a business person, you can get customers. Again, there's 4 ways to get customers. I just stole this from a guy named Alex Hermosi. I know, whatever you guys think about him, but warm outreach, cold outreach, content, and paid ads. So if you can do any of those 4, then you are valuable to a startup. The way you can do that is you can try to start your own little business. Basically, if you can say you're a founder in some regard, like I did a landscaping business or something like that, then that's like huge green flag. So like organizing or leading clubs is good. Also, starting your own thing, if you can get people to pay you for stuff, then that means that you're valuable and you're useful. So that's how you get useful skills. That's what I mean by like building as a business person. It's just like doing those core 4 as well as you could do a club. And then your question was, how do you get into the startup as a business person?
Sure.
Was that?
It was like your
Two
first,
parts.
but yeah.
Okay, so just finish that part off. Yeah, so I think the first part's more insightful, but the second part, I mean, then it's just the same. Then it's just leading with value. It's like, hey, I can get customers here. I can get customers for you too. If you built a club, or if you helped build a club that was in the similar niche to what the startup is in, that could be helpful, but it doesn't even matter. Basically, if you can organize large organizations, then the founder knows you can go in and you can like get stuff done and you're not going to miss stuff because you had responsibilities. And then also, if you can get customers, then they know you're good. Is that an answer?
Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty good.
Maybe one or two more questions.
1 or 2, 621. Okay, we got one here. Okay. Just put the mic to your mouth.
Okay, so personally, I'm a freshman, so a lot of the experiences that I have in my life are from high school.
Yes.
Is high school leadership and all those things, is that relevant to startups still? Because it's like, is that relevant experience even if it's like from high school?
Have you done it? Did you do stuff?
Yeah.
Then it's relevant.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
That was a short answer, but I just want to everyone thinks it's about like prestige and like these like internships and stuff, but no.
Question, no dialogue.
Okay.
Do you want to talk about or riff on selling or buying startup idea prototypes?
Potentially, yeah. After this, you can come talk to me.
Okay, I didn't know if you want to do it now.
Startup idea prototypes?
Yeah, somebody has a startup idea. They built a skeleton app, and they said, I just want to sell it for X amount. Or you say, this is a neat idea. Do you actually want to go the next amount of work on it, or you want to shift to your other idea and sell me the prototype?
Yeah, I don't have as much insight on that. So you asked about evaluating startup ideas, just because my expertise is more on joining a startup.
That's just fine.
But yeah, we can talk more after if you want. Anything else for the Q&A? Okay, should we do these two and call it? Is that good?
Wrap it up.
Okay,
I'll
is
wrap it up.
that okay?
Yeah.
Cool.
So you talked a lot about learning skills quickly and using tools like AI.
Yeah.
Are there any other tools besides AI or techniques that you would use to learn a skill quickly or?
Yeah, it depends what you're in, but really the answer to that question is, remember the 5 steps? Ask the people from 1. So the group you're in, they'll know way better than I would.
Yeah, depending on the skill.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, last one.
And then I was just wondering if you could touch on the startup you're a part of right now. I think I got a message from you on LinkedIn or a cold thing or that, but if you could touch on that in 30 seconds.
Yeah. So the thing I run now is called Breakout. Basically, I have a network you can join a network basically. So you record some videos, and then that goes into a database of all of these people. There's not a lot of people. I only look for high quality people. And then as founders come in, I basically call you or I send you a direct text if there's a good opportunity that might fit your skill set. So it's no job board. You don't go apply. You get passive opportunities. So you just go in once. Takes about 10 minutes. And then for the rest of perpetuity, I basically just send you passive opportunities if it seems the right fit. And then I also on your responses, I'll give you feedback on how to position yourself better to a startup based on your responses. So that's basically what I'm doing right now. Yeah, cool. All right, thanks so much, everyone.
All right, round of applause.